Thank you for joining me. My name is Diego and I am the director of the Hit Music Studio, and in this video I would like to cover the best tips that we have for the students that are doing voice lessons over Zoom. Let me start by saying that we are not associated or endorsed by the company Zoom, but we do believe that video conferencing is a great way that you can do voice lessons over the internet. And this is going to be a three-part series, so check parts 2 and 3. We're going to cover a lot of material. We're going to try to keep the video short, but at the same time give you the best things that we're seeing working for the students that are currently doing remote lessons with us. So let's start by talking about the device that we want you to use. We want you to try to, if you can, to have access to a laptop. And the main reason is because laptops not only have a stronger Wi-Fi, but at the same time there are some settings, which we'll cover in a second, that you can go into the software and be able to change them. These settings are going to allow for the communications to happen a little bit easier, especially because we're talking about music, and the software is mainly designed for voice, for talking. So once you put music and you start putting tracks, some things can get a little bit more complex, and those settings can only be accessed on a laptop. Now, for us, it's important to mention voice students do need a second device. So if you have a laptop, you're also going to need a phone, or you're also going to need an iPad, because we're going to need the student to be able to play music in a way that we can hear it. And for the most part, if you're playing music on the same device that you're using to communicate with the teacher, we're not going to be able to hear the music. So it's important to have a second device in which you're going to be playing the music. Now we're going to talk about the specifics of what type of device, where to place it, and all that in the other parts that we're going to do about this. But once again, try to, if you can, to be able to have access to a laptop, as that is going to give the student the best experience possible. Now we want to mention that the laptop should be hopefully close to the router, and just monitor a little bit how many other things are going on at the same time. You don't want to necessarily be doing streaming with multiple devices plus video conferencing at the same time, because that can really bring down the ability of all devices to keep up. That's something that you have to check on your house. I know that from our end, we had to invest into our Wi-Fi to be able to get all the teachers to be able to communicate with students at the same time. But we do want the class to go without any glitches. So it's important to make sure that your Wi-Fi can actually withstand, especially the amount of communication that you're doing with it. Now, we also want to mention the importance of having headphones. And I have some here. We prefer if the student can use headphones that are like this type, and if possibly they can probably wear just one of them. The idea of the headphones is it makes the communication easier, because it allows the software to separate the audio from the speaker and from the input that the audio is, I guess, is transmitting on the other side. But at the same time, one thing that we like is that with headphones, if both persons are wearing headphones, it's a little bit easier to almost correct them in real time. And while they're singing, to almost make adjustments and say, you want to do this, can you try that? So I think headphones are going to be a great addition. You want to try to get headphones that will not have a microphone on them, as we also believe that that's going to make a bigger separation between the audio and the input, and that's going to give you a little bit of better results. So check that the headphones do not have a little block on one of the cables. That's usually the microphone. So let me show you here on my computer. You want to go into the Zoom app and go into preferences, and here you want to change a couple of things. The first one, you want to change automatically adjust microphone volume. That can get distracting for us, because sometimes we get this almost like spikes, and we would rather have the signal as steady as possible. And at the same time, if you click here on advanced settings, try to disable suppress persistent background noise and suppress intermittent background noise. Those two are big for us, because sometimes the software is looking for literally background noise, but it's taking some of what we're doing in music out. So you're almost like listening to the student, let's say, sing a part of a song, but all of a sudden your audio gets cut off. And we believe it comes from those settings. These are only settings, once again, that you can only access on a laptop. So you cannot change this on your phone or on an iPad. But we do believe that this is a big step forward to be able to get good quality out of your classes. So once again, this is one of the reasons that we recommend using a laptop. And if you have a PC, I believe the menus are very similar. You just have to look for the settings inside the app for Zoom. Let me finish saying, and this is almost like stating the obvious, but super important, that both devices are fully charged, or that they have a way to be charged. Sometimes if they're using a phone and you don't want the phone running out of charge in the middle of a class. So that's an important consideration to check before you start the class, that both devices are actually working the best that they can. And this is a big tip tip, try to reset both devices, especially the one that you're using to communicate right before the class. So if you have a class at 3, maybe at 2:40 it's good to take it, power it down, and turn it back on. That usually resets a bunch of the settings, and I've had multiple classes in which we started a class and we couldn't communicate and we couldn't get the audio to work, and it was literally that. Like, you needed to reset the device, and that clears all the settings, and then once you try to communicate, it works very well. So we want to thank you for watching. Definitely check parts 2 and 3 of this series about Zoom tips and the best knowledge that we have already into making sure that you can have a really successful class over the internet. And if you want more information about who we are, please visit us at thehitmusicstudio.com. We'll see you guys very soon. Take care.